Bitcoin is a term that you are hearing more and more often lately, and everybody has heard of at least one success story of someone investing a small amount into it and becoming a millionaire, seemingly overnight. The trouble is, though, can these stories be trusted? And more to the point, what exactly is a Bitcoin and what can you do with them? Lucky for you, you don't need to look any further because we're about to answer the key questions that you might have about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And more importantly, you should be able to decide whether the investment plunge is right for you. Number 10. Where did Bitcoin come from? Despite Bitcoin being so popular these days, it has surprisingly been around since 2009. But nobody knows for sure who created it. All that is known is that the creator used the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, and then he disappeared, leaving behind a fortune in Bitcoin and the start of the world's first online currency. Despite being around for nearly a decade, they suddenly burst onto everybody's radar in 2013, following a massive increase in their value. Part of what has made an increase in value is quite simple. As with any supply and demand chain, the greater the need for something, the higher the price becomes. Currently, Bitcoin is around 100,000 times more valuable today than they were back in 2010, and as of 2018, they continue to grow in value. Number 9. What is a Bitcoin? For this, we need to start off with the real basics to get you up to speed. A Bitcoin is essentially a line of computer code that holds monetary value. These lines of code can be found just about anywhere and are created by high-performance computers called miners, but more on those later. Simply put, Bitcoin is an online currency, also known as cryptocurrency, that holds essentially the same value anywhere in the world. Being an online currency, there is no physical object that you can hold yet. Once you own one, they can be sold by you for a profit, or you can hold them in the hope that they raise in value, much like you would with gold coins or stocks. One advantage of a Bitcoin is it can be stored on your computer's hard drive, offline and away from potential hackers. Online storage options are out there, but you always have the possibility of being hacked and having your hard-earned Bitcoins taken from you. That said, over $30 billion in Bitcoin is estimated to have been lost due to the owner forgetting their passwords or hardware failure. Once this happens, the Bitcoin is lost forever and cannot be retrieved. Number 8. Is Bitcoin safe? This question has two answers, so I'll break it up a bit. First, with regards to your own safety in buying and selling Bitcoin, essentially, your safety does rely on your own spidey sense. In itself, Bitcoin is safer than most other financial services and offers a high level of anonymity when doing business. This can work both in your favor and against you. On one side, you are relatively safe in that anybody you deal with has little more information than your pseudonym that you use in transactions, which makes it difficult for them to get any of your sensitive personal information. On the other hand, it works both ways. When working with somebody on a deal, it's always possible that they can take your money and disappear before giving you the required amount of Bitcoin. Transactions should always be taken seriously and should only be done with a trusted source. Second, as an investment, you need to use your own discretion. Bitcoin is considered a high-risk investment in a volatile market, and the price can change at any time. It's more a matter of how lucky you're feeling. Do your homework. And if you feel like things are only going to get better, then it's worth taking the risk, bearing in mind that it could always change on a moment's notice. Personally, I would recommend that you don't rely solely on what people or even brokers tell you, but do your own market research at the time of the sell and purchase, just like with any other investment. With all of this information in mind, as of early 2018, Bitcoin shows no signs of slowing, and there are even reported cases of people selling their houses to buy into Bitcoin. Do with that information what you will. Number 7. What can you do with Bitcoin? Let us assume for a second that you took the plunge and actually invested in Bitcoin. Well, what happens next? To put it simply, you have several choices. You can either sit on it and hope that it increases in value in the coming months or years, much like you do with gold or stocks. You can invest it in shares just like you would with regular money, or you can sell it immediately to other bidders in hopes that you will make a profit on it. The past few years, many companies such as Microsoft are accepting it as a monetary substitute. Small businesses are starting to get on board accepting Bitcoin through plugins that add to WordPress websites. And even real estate transactions are happening completely through Bitcoin transactions. The first recorded purchase using Bitcoin was back in 2010 when somebody traded 10,000 Bitcoins for a pizza. At current prices, that works out to about $99 million for a pizza. I hope it was a good one. Number 6. What are Bitcoin miners? Before we get to that, let's talk about the job of a miner. Just like any miner, they are digging away hoping to strike gold. And when they do, a new Bitcoin is born. Congratulations! These Bitcoins are then added to something called the blockchain, which is where it sits until it gets bought by somebody. When that happens, the miner that found the Bitcoin is also rewarded. Miners are also responsible for verifying new Bitcoin transactions made and add them to the public ledger in part of the aforementioned blockchain. As far as becoming a miner is concerned, technically anybody can be a miner. Back when Bitcoin was first introduced, you could mine with your average gaming PC. But these days, you need specialized software and something called ASIC, which solves the puzzles that need to be completed to release a Bitcoin. Before you consider this form of action, though, you should probably note that the amount of power consumed by older ASIC models is so bad that most people don't make enough money to cover the power usage. On a related note, the complexity of the puzzles that these machines need to solve is also defined by the number of people mining that specific coin. The less people that mine it, the easier it is for the puzzle to solve. Number 5. What are the alternatives to Bitcoin? You may have thought up to this point that if you want to get involved in the cryptocurrency game, that Bitcoin is the only way to go. Well, lucky for you, that's not correct. Although Bitcoin is the main cryptocurrency superpower by far, there are numerous other options that you can consider, and who knows, maybe someday one of them will knock Bitcoin from the top spot. Let's also not forget that at this point, they are still quite a bit cheaper than Bitcoin, which could be either a plus or a minus to you. For example, we have Ethereum, running in second place behind Bitcoin with a market cap of only 68 billion units compared to Bitcoin's 281 billion units. It is still quite a ways away from catching up, but it's certainly worth a look. Third place goes to Ripple. With a cap of 29 billion, its most notable feature is that it is actually more secure than even Bitcoin and is far more fluid, meaning that buying and trading can be dealt with as often as you want, whenever you want. Next, we have Litecoin, capping out at 14 billion units, but is said to be able to allow transactions around 4 times faster than Bitcoin. Advocates of Litecoin say that this will become an important feature when Bitcoin slows down under a large number of transactions. Falling in at 5th and 6th, we have IOTA and Dash, which are also claiming to both be faster and more user-friendly than Bitcoin in its current state. So if you're looking for an investment opportunity, there are other options you can look into. Let us know in the comments if you think any of these will ever top Bitcoin. Number 4. Can Bitcoin run out? Well, the short answer is yes. Not only can Bitcoin run out, but it will run out. The good news is that it probably won't be in the immediate future, but there are only around 21 million Bitcoins out there, and out of those 21 million, 16 million have already been discovered. What this means is that we may still have several decades left of Bitcoins, but with its ever-increasing popularity, will the time come sooner than we thought? More importantly, what will happen when they run out? Well, like anything that has a finite supply, the price will likely increase drastically once again. It also means that miners will be left without anything to mine. This means that their only income will be made off of approval cells, which could mean that it just won't be practical for any of them to keep doing it. It is also unknown at this point if Bitcoin parameters will have changed by then, possibly giving us access to a whole new batch of Bitcoins just waiting to be mined. For now, though, only time will tell. Number 3. How do you actually get started with Bitcoin? Now that you have all this information, there are only a few questions you could possibly have left. Chief among them will probably be to know exactly what you need to do to begin your Bitcoin journey. Well, you start by downloading a wallet. There's a free wallet that can be downloaded from the Bitcoin site on just about any mobile device that will help you track your Bitcoins. Next, you simply purchase Bitcoins using a debit or credit card via the online exchange. After that, it's entirely up to you. Keep them and hope they grow, or simply use them as you would use any currency and shop at one of the many online retail stores that currently accept Bitcoin. If you're really feeling lucky, there are even games on the Bitcoin official site where you can gamble either your own hard-earned coins or even play for free with test credits. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, it is! And it's all quite easily explained on their website. Number 2. Is Bitcoin for everybody? As long as you've got money to spend, you can buy Bitcoin, or better yet, even a piece of one. Each Bitcoin is divisible to the 8th decimal point, meaning that it is possible to buy even a small piece of a single coin. If you think that sounds like a waste, you should know that even the smallest sliver of a Bitcoin today retails at more money than an entire coin did back when Bitcoin was breathing its first precious breaths. There are even companies out there, like Coinbase for example, that will allow you to buy as little as $1 worth of a Bitcoin. Of course, your profit potential is slashed to borderline nothing at this point, but it could be a good benchmark to get your feet wet. Are you willing to spend a bit more on a Bitcoin but don't quite have the know-how to effectively manage your money? There are a number of brokers out there who will effectively help you maximize your profits. Just bear in mind that these brokers also come at a cost. Number 1. Why should you seriously consider Bitcoin? At this point, you may be conflicted about what you should do. So here, we will give you all the reasons that we think it's wise to trade Bitcoin. First, big investors are taking it very seriously. Sure, there are those investors out there that are skeptical or who believe it will crash any day now, leaving a ton of people with major losses, which is possible. But at the same time, there are some big-time businessmen who are investing plenty of time and money into it. Even my personal favorite role model, Sir Richard Branson himself, has said that Bitcoin is working and will continue to grow as time goes on. Second, as mentioned before, there are only a finite amount of Bitcoins out there, so buying them now could be an extremely smart decision as the demand grows in the coming years. And finally, at this precise moment in time, Bitcoin is on the rise, and there is no immediate signs of it slowing down. Looking back at the history of Bitcoin thus far, the success stories have far outweighed the failed ones. If you have your own Bitcoin success or failure story, why not let us know in the comments below? We'd love hearing from you guys. There you have it, the fundamentals you need to know in order to understand Bitcoins a little bit better. If you found this useful, please like and share this video for your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.